and gentlemen, our next speaker, Kevin Hoffman, Senior Vice President of Development for Aquilini.
And the Chamber for allowing us to come and present today. It's a real pleasure. Thank you, Bryce and fellow councillors from TFN. And thankful to be here on the traditional territory of Tsawwassen First Nation. Thank you to Lois Jackson, the Mayor of Delta, and other councillors for being here too. I think it's really important to share the information about what's happening out in Tsawwassen. So it's a real pleasure to be here and be able to present what our little part of what we're doing out in Tsawwassen there now. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about the work. We started a partnership with originally 16 members, now it's 18 members of the Tsawwassen First Nation who are CP holders, or they are what they call it, fee simple, Tsawwassen fee simple landowners. So they own the land fee simple. It's registered at Land Titles Office. It's their land. It's not. We're not in a partnership with Tsawwassen First Nation on the development that we're doing, but we're in a partnership with 18 individual landowners. So it's a little different. I think that might be a little bit of a misconception out there that our land is fee simple land. It's just that when Tsawwassen did the treaty, they decided that they were going to lease the land rather than have people sell it freehold. So that's the reason why we're doing a 99-year lease. We started working again in 2010. We took a full year. We were all gung-ho. We wanted to get shovels in the ground, get homes built, and we all collectively decided to put the brakes on. We said, we need to plan this, we need to plan it right. So kudos to Tsawwassen First Nation. They kind of led the charge. They hired some very good consultants and decided to do a neighborhood concept plan. And this is the document that I kind of live by. This has been my Bible for the last couple of years in developing this project. And what it did was it created the roadmap for what's going to happen over the total area. So you don't have a number of different developers coming in and doing different things. So the whole community is planned from the get-go as far as the population that's going to be there, the density, the types of housing mix that's going to be there, the amenities, the public realm. So all these things are going to tie together, whether it's we're approximately 1/3 or a little more than 1/3 of the entire area that this neighborhood concept plan, this doesn't encompass all the lands that Tsawwassen has, but it's a big chunk of where the residential development's going to happen. And so just to give you a couple of brief highlights of what this plan outlines was they're estimating about 1,900 new units there, the population of about 4,400 new people. As far as the density, it's about 50% single-family new homes, 35% townhouses or duplexes, and about 15% could be apartments. So that's the zoning that I have to work with, and the way they've done it is very unique. I've never run across it in any other municipality. I don't know of it where it's happened before. Is they've allocated floor space density to a specific area. So they leave it up to the developer, which I really like, and I think it makes a lot of sense, is that we can go and choose the type of housing product that should go in a specific area. So for us, right across the street from the mall, we think that's a perfect opportunity to have a little bit of a higher type use. That's where we'll put our 4-story apartments. That's where the apartments will go. It's walking, it's right across the street from the mall. And then kind of as you get further away from it, you find you'll get the single family, and the townhouses will be kind of in between. So it's very unique in that sense. Another great feature about the way that they've done the zoning is that they give us the ability to, whether we want to do large lots or we want to do smaller lots. So it lets the developer respond to the market, and we can kind of, what's in demand out there, that's what we can build to. So what we're really trying to do is to develop affordable housing, some attainable housing. If if you've seen some of our signs, we've got single-family house living from 499.9, so under 500,000 in an oceanside community in Tsawwassen. It's unheard of. So to be able to offer that kind of a value is spectacular, I think, and we're seeing the results in our offering in our first phase. We're completely sold out, off onto the second phase right now. Just a few highlights from the plan, some of the things that came out of it. The park space, much like other municipalities, 10% of the land will have to go to park space. If there's any kind of an increase in density, then you're going to increase the size of your parks. Linear parks, very important, well thought through, that the linear parks connect to the waterfront, they'll connect to where the mall is. Bike trails, walking trails, it's a community where that we're used to downtown living, where I always preach that, you know what, I live in a condo right on the edge of downtown. I park my car on the weekend and I never have to go anywhere. I got grocery shopping, I can walk across the street. I got a Home Depot, I got Best Buy, Canadian Tire, whatever, everything, walking distance. People in this community are going to be able to do the exact same thing, and they're going to feel like they're not living right downtown with all the hustle and bustle of it. So great connectivity in this plan, and you can see some of the main spine roads and everything will connect through bike trails. A village center, very important, economic activity. Everybody wants to gather around coffee shops and have a gathering place, and that's within the community, and of course that's going to happen at the mall location as well. The Great Blue Heron Way Trail, a huge thing for our buyers. We have so many people that are interested. The plan shows for a connection right here. It's the Dyke Trail, for those of you that maybe have walked it, it's spectacular. They're especially when the birds are migrating, it's a phenomenal sight to see with all the birds out there. And what we're working with Tsawwassen is to get this connection so that you don't have, it's a pretty long walk if you want to walk all the way around right now. So this connection is key to the plan, in my opinion, and for us it was. And public realm, just how within all the development, the way the street signs look, the way that the sidewalks look, the bike paths look, the parks, the signage, everything, it's all tied together. So it's going to be a spectacular community, and I really hope that the first phase is now open to the public. People have moved in, so if you get a chance, I encourage you to come see what's happening down there and see how beautiful of a subdivision it is right now. It's just the very start of it. So the Aquilini portion of the development, we have two phases. We have some lands up here to the north, and then we have our first phase, which is down here in the southern part of this area. That's where we started, and then the rest of it is for other developers to develop, or possibly in the future, maybe there'll be other things for us to do there as well. We're planning on about 850 oceanside residences right now. It's kind of a rendering before we started of how it might look. As I said before, our first offering was 42 single-family homes. We completely sold out. We started our offering in the spring of last year. Took a little time, but once it started to go and there was acceptance in the market and people started to see the roads and the sewers and the street lights go up, it just caught fire, and we sold out. Got the second phase out onto the market now. We launched this past weekend, and we're a third sold out already in 2 days. So it's phenomenal. We had over 100 people out for the weekend, and a lot of people sitting there crunching numbers right now and going, I could sell my home for $800,000 or $900,000, $1 million. Come here and buy one for $500,000 and $550,000 and have some money in my pocket. So there's a lot of people doing the number crunching right now. So we're very happy to see that. There's a picture a little bit earlier on of our 2 show homes, so if you haven't been out, we've got 2 homes, so it's actually, you can actually come out and see them. Beautiful interiors, one of them. One of our show homes is master on the main, with the option of having 3 bedrooms up, so you get a 4-bedroom with a den home in that $550,000 range. So there's great value there. Beautifully appointed, high ceilings, 16-foot high ceilings in that one. The rest of it in the living room and dining area, and then 9-foot ceilings everywhere else on the lower level. Second show home, I just thought I'd throw in a few pictures to show you what it looks like, and master ensuite with tub and shower built in. So we're not talking, these aren't really your run-of-the-mill spec homes. These are beautifully appointed homes. Just tell you just a little bit about like how we decided to do this. We wanted to take advantage of economies of scale. We wanted to offer attainable, affordable housing. So our plan was to offer 6 different floor plans, a couple of different styles. 2 of our floor plans, some homes have garages in the back, some of them have garages attached in the front, but 6 different plans, and then we've added a couple more plans. We had so many families that were looking and saying we need more bedrooms, so we've added a lot of bedrooms to the existing plans. So we get a wide variety of homes, so it doesn't look like row housing. You've got the ability to choose. Each one of those plans has 3 different variations. So the first 40 that are built now, you look down the street and there might be a lot of them that are the same floor plan, but look totally different because we put different roof lines on them, different types of windows in the front. We've got 3 interior packages you can choose from, give you a wide variation, and a number of exterior colors. So again, there's so much variety. You can even have 2 houses that are side by side that look very similar, but it's a lot of variety. And one of the things that we're offering is we wanted to give you a bare bones, we wanted attainable, affordable living, and then you have the ability. So if you wanted to have a little more of an offering, you can put stone on the front of the house, fiber cement siding, outdoor fireplaces, built-in gas barbecues, appliance upgrades, typical upgrades that you'd see in other developments. But the main offering is spectacular as well. And that's a picture of the first street that was handed over a couple of weeks ago. So people are moved in. It's great to see people walking around the neighborhood and get to know their neighbors, and it's such a joy for me to, after all these years, to see people actually take the keys and move in. So that is a snapshot of where we are. I think on the handouts I've put my contact information there. If there's anybody who would like to contact me, if there's businesses that would like to do, see if there's any opportunities to do business with us, I encourage you to give me a call or send me an email, and I can direct you to the right people. Construction people, you can always go to site, and you guys would probably know that already, but I'm happy to talk to anyone who would like to be doing business with us. So thank you for this opportunity.
Time for a few questions. Yeah, absolutely. Let me just grab this. Move over to the side.
Yeah.
We've got time for a few questions if anybody has a question for Kevin. Which exterior finish would you like?
Yeah.
I think that's been answered. We went to an economic development update and got a pitch for real estate, but you know, a third sold out in 2 days. Have you wiped the smile off your face yet, or what?
Well, there's a 7-day rescission period, so I'll wait till that's over.
You gave him an offer. Yeah, that's great. Are there any questions about construction, Delta Cable, in terms of providing bundled services to future lots? No, just kidding. No, not really.
There you go. They're there. You can choose Delta Cable.
Yes, there's a question over here.
Yeah, I just wondered, is it people from the South Delta community, or people coming from far away? Just
Actually, we've had a real mix. I would say the majority, or in the first phase, were either Ladner, Tsawwassen, and quite a few people from Richmond, actually. Finding a lot of people in a townhouse that are just upgrading. They want the single-family living. They want their own backyard. And, that's been the majority of the people. Just kind of a lot of people upgrading. But people from the North Shore, Vancouver, South Surrey, White Rock area, it's been popular across the board. But for sure, Delta, Ladner area is the majority of the people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And what about, household mix? Like, are you looking at young families? Are you looking at, young people like my wife and I, or what?
Yeah, it's been across the board. I would say the empty nester, just because the houses are a bit on the small side for larger families. We're in the 1,700 square foot to 2,000 square foot. So we're finding people with 2 kids or 3 kids, it's been a challenge. But there's been 3 or 4 families in the first 40 that had young children that I know of. But the majority would be the empty nester or young families just starting out and don't have the kids yet. But yeah.
We got our 3 kids to move out, and then we right-sized. I hate the word downsizing.
Yeah.
We're right-sizing for the next phase of our life. So
There you
anyway,
go.
There's a question back here, sir.
What's the update on the sewage plant for the future phases?
I guess you'd have to speak to TFN on that. But for this phase, our phase 2 is tied to the sewage treatment plant. So when it's ready to receive the sewage from these homes, then the people will move into these 29 homes in this phase that we've just launched. So it's key to the rest of the development that the treatment plant is open, up and running.
Super. Well, on that basis, Kevin, I'd like to say thank you very much on behalf of the Delta Chamber of Commerce for participating. I invite you to stay at the dais for the next presentation from John Scott, who is Senior Vice President of Development for Ivanhoé, Cambridge. And just as Kevin is building townhouses across from a mall, John is building a mall across from the townhouses. So it's kind of serendipitous that you guys are co-presenting.
Thank you very much, Ian. I appreciate having the invitation to be here today, and thank you and the Chamber for bringing us all together. It's been a really interesting morning for me as well, not just as a presenter, but certainly to hear the earlier presentation. So pleased to be here. I've been personally working in the retail development business for some 28 years, totally on the shopping center side, and prior to spearheading our Tsawwassen Mills project, I was responsible for Cross Iron Mills in Calgary, which you're going to hear a little bit more about at lunch today. Just before I proceed, I've got 2 colleagues in the audience. You're going to hear more from James Moeller here, sitting up at the top table. I'm going to refer to James a few times because he's the one that lives and breathes how these things operate after I give him the keys. My other colleague is the fellow that sits in the site office and directs our day-to-day business, Mr. Jeff Brown over here in the corner. And so notwithstanding I'm out fairly frequently, Jeff manages things and keeps things on track for us all. I'm going to start very high level and quickly just talk briefly about who Ivanhoé Cambridge is, what business we're in, why we're doing the shopping centers we are doing and the kind of shopping centers, and then roll right into the Mills Center that we're really here to talk to today. But I wanted to give some context to who we are. There we are. So firstly, we're one of the 10 largest real estate companies in the world. We operate in 24 countries. Our head office is in Montreal, and we're a subsidiary of the Caisse de Dépôt, one of the leading institutional fund managers in Canada. In addition to retail, we're involved in several other forms of business: office, multi-residential, hotels, logistics, and real estate funds. We operate from several offices across the country. I operate out of the Toronto office myself, although I'm here very frequently. We have offices here in Western Canada, in both Calgary and Vancouver, and in Vancouver we operate out of Oak Ridge Centre, one of our centres. Our main focus is retail, and we are absolutely passionate about shopping centres and that business. We have ownership in over 40 traditional regional centres across Canada, and have significant presence in BC itself. Outside Canada, we have shopping centres in the United States, Spain, Germany, China, and a very significant presence in Brazil. In addition to our traditional shopping centres that most people are familiar with, we develop and operate another retail platform that we refer to as the Mills. Of course, Tsawwassen Mills being one of those, and more recently a pure outlet concept that has evolved out of that area. We welcome the opportunity to be part of the community. We have worked together over many years to date, and we will be working together for many years to come. Again, we're going to hear more from James in terms of, post-opening, what does that mean and how do we work with the community. We are developers, absolutely, but we are managers and we are in for the long term. And again, that's what you're going to hear a little bit later in terms of how we work forward. We will be, we have our operations people engaged already, although we're a little under 2 years from opening. And we'll have our operational staff on site and up and running starting roughly 12 months out from opening. So something that is a big gear up going forward. Very briefly, I just want to talk about our Mills and Outlet collection. The Mills concept is what we're talking about today. It's very different than a regional shopping center that we all think of on a typical day-to-day basis, both in terms of the retail tenants and as well its look and its feel. It's a hybrid form of retail. It combines the best elements of a super regional mall, a power center, an outlet center. It's a combination of traditional retail and value-oriented tenants, outlet-type tenants. We have what we call anchor tenants, which are stores that are greater than 20,000 square feet. We have typically 15 to 18 of those. And that's in addition to some 200 smaller specialty retail stores. These retail stores, again, are a combination of things like off-price retailers, factory retailer outlets, category dominant stores, food and beverage. And a Mills is typically 1.1 to 1.3 million square feet, pardon me, of retail area. GLA being gross leasable area, but retail area. We're a major regional destination, and tourism is a big proponent of our market base. We have an extensive trade area and cover a wide geographic range, and a Mills requires a trade area of in excess of 1 million people. Our outlet collection, just briefly, it's a very much a smaller version of this, but pure outlet, 300 to 500,000 square feet, only 3 to 6 anchors. A little bit smaller population base of less than 1 million people, and it's typically located outside of the urban areas because the retailers want to have their outlet concepts a little further away from their full price concepts. So in total, our program right now, when we look at this, is some 4.9 million square feet, either approved, up and operating, approved, or under development. And this, the key really, and the reason I put this slide up is to say that this provides us great opportunity to build strong relationships with these retailers and to bring not only new retailers to play, but work very effectively with our existing retailers across the country. This was our first Mills, Vaughan Mills in Toronto, just north of Toronto. It was first of its kind in Canada. We opened it in 2004. It's been a huge success. In fact, we're opening a 150,000 square foot expansion in October of that particular property. Cross Iron Mills, this is my favorite so far because I was involved from the point of looking at it from its prairie grass beginnings all the way to the point where I handed the keys over to my friend and associate, Mr. Moeller here. So I'm going to leave the rest of the story for James to talk about there. And then very recently, in the last 4 months, 4 months ago, we opened Outlet Collection at Niagara, which again is involved in our pure outlet concept. and consumers are very much pleased with the offering that we have there. So, without too much more delay, we'll talk about Tsawwassen Mills. I'm sure everybody's seen this rendering somewhere along the line. This is our overall community, Tsawwassen First Nation community rendering. The mills itself sits to the north side of Highway 17 between 52nd and what will be 48th Street. 48th Street being the new main entry to the entire TFN community. As I mentioned, it's not a traditional shopping center. It's very unique in terms of the variety of tenants and how it functions and how it acts as a destination for people. Because of its unique mix, there are several aspects of how a Mills functions that differ from the rest of our traditional centers. More information is coming again through James later, but people typically travel further to come to a Mills property. As a result, they don't come quite as often as a traditional shopping center, but when they do come, they stay longer and they spend more money. The other major component of this is that tourism is a very important aspect of our market. And so that's quite unique from a traditional or typical regional shopping center. When we start into a project like this and a scale of this size, we obviously do a lot of market research. We've had Kircher Research Associates do all of our market research for all of our mills. And they have defined our primary trade area for this particular project to include all of Delta, Richmond, White Rock, and parts of New Westminster. What we have found is that historically they're very conservative in their trade area definition, and the trade areas, as we get up and running, actually grow further beyond the initial projections. And again, we've got some data later that you'll hear about that go to demonstrate the drawing power and the geographic distance that these two draw from. The project itself, 1.2 million square feet of retail area, 16 anchor tenants, as I described earlier. They're 20,000 square feet or larger, all around the perimeter. Our largest anchor being Bass Pro in the far easterly end of the property. Unique mix of premium fashion brands, factory outlets, and restaurants. And in the middle of the project, we have a centrally located 1,100-seat food hall. Parking spaces all around the perimeter of the shopping center. We also have bike parking, lockers for people that want to ride and change, and end-of-trip facilities being showers and such to promote that mode of transportation. Through the design, development, and construction process, we are seeking a LEED designation for this project, which is new for us. We're very focused on that, but in terms of our new developments, this would be our first mills that we will be seeking LEED designation on, and so far that looks like it's going very well. From a neighborhood perspective, connectivity is very important to us. We've worked very closely with TFN and have developed what we believe is great connectivity between the retail areas and the other areas of the community. Kevin spoke to that earlier, and the importance of that from a residential perspective. We view that equally as being part of the community. And again, through the use of such things as bike lanes, the multi-use path, as Kevin mentioned earlier as well, the Great Blue Heron Way Trail, pedestrian connections, and transit stops around the perimeter of the property as we work forward in that area. Bass Pro Shops, we have previously announced this tenant, but this is our marquee tenant, and it's very unique. It's unique to BC. We're very pleased about that. This is their first location in BC for what we refer to as a hunting and fishing giant. It's 145,000 square feet, very much entertainment focused from the perspective of people like to just wander around the store. At Cross Iron, for instance, we also have a Bass Pro, and the average visit time in that store is 2 hours. So people really do spend a lot of time there. From the perspective of a location of this kind of retailer in this market with a focus on outdoors, on fishing, we believe this is going to be an incredible home run, and again, really important major regional draw. They're award-winning, and moving forward, we are looking forward to making more tenant announcements all the way through up to the opening. So that's moving along. From a design perspective, again, it's very different shopping center than you're used to seeing, and certainly will be very different from anything that's in the market today here. We typically theme these to the local environment. So in this case, they are British Columbia themes. And in that regard, what we do is we take the overall plan and we break it up into what we refer to as neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods then carry a design theme through. It's really just to create interest for people. It's an opportunity to highlight aspects of the regional area, and we'll talk a little bit more about how we've been able to work with the one neighborhood, particularly focusing on Coast Salish and TFN. So we have the fashion neighborhood, a sustainability neighborhood, a city neighborhood, and a TFN Coast Salish neighborhood, as I mentioned, and as well an outdoor life, pardon me, and sport neighborhood. Each of these themes comes from inside to out. So these are, there are 6 major access points into the shopping center. This is our outdoor life icon. Much of the design is very stylized, and in this case, sort of representational of marsh grasses blowing in the wind. We think that's going to be a pretty spectacular art piece, if you will. Our sustainability entry, treated a little differently than the other points of entry. It's going to be flanked by restaurants and outdoor patios and create really a public gathering space. And this is at the far easterly end, most closely connected to the residential community. Our Coast Salish entry icon, again coming into the Coast Salish neighborhood. Very challenging and unique sculptural piece that is to depict salmon coming out of the water. Just to come in to the center a little bit, and I did want to focus on the Coast Salish neighborhood. We're using traditional patterning throughout the flooring, ceiling, and amenity spaces. And we're working very diligently and interactively with a number of TFN artisans, in fact 4, to bring authenticity and a respectful interpretation of these design elements into the center. Again, being part of the community, we very much want the community to embrace and feel part of this as an element within the community. We've got 18 different commissioned pieces from these 4 artisans in various mediums, carved form, carved and painted form, woven pieces, cedar pieces, and a number of original sketches and such that are really inspirational pieces that we've brought into the design elements themselves. I'm going to speak to 2 more of the larger commission pieces in a moment because they are critical to our overall design approach. Also another, just a depiction of the Coast Salish neighborhood. We've got many court areas throughout the mall, and within this particular neighborhood we're working to create a stylized longhouse with central hearth area. We've got some really incredible inspirational pieces from the TFN artisans with regard to floor patterning around that central hearth area, and working very much in terms of what the meaning is and how we can present messages to help understand what is happening in that area. Our food hall, centrally located, as I mentioned, 1,100 seats. It's going to have tremendous volume, wood structure, ceiling deck, and we anticipate this is going to be a really a favorite gathering place for people and our customers as they come through the center. Just a further perspective, bird's eye view of the center. Some 15 food uses within that area. these are the two pieces that are really important to our overall design approach for the shopping center in its entirety. So this goes beyond the area of the neighborhood of the Tsawwassen First Nation Coast Salish. We've commissioned these two pieces. On the left, upper left, the house post, and the upper right, the spindle whorl. And I think it's appropriate to mention that, he's not there. Chief Bryce Williams is carving our spindle whorl for us. So we're very excited about that. And Carl Morgan is one of our other artisans that's working on the house posts. These are going to be integrated into the shopping center, into the actual food hall area, the actual original pieces. It provides opportunity to provide information about the meaning behind them and their significance. We're also taking it a step further though, and we're taking these and integrating them, replicating them, if you will. So the original stay in the food hall, we're going to replicate them. In regards to the spindle whorl, that's going to be integrated into our main entry signage for Tsawwassen Mills, which will be all around the exterior of the premise. And once you get onto the shopping center parking lot, there's major directional signage that tells you to go one way or the other depending on where you're headed, what stores you're headed for. And so the house post, again, is a piece that we're integrating in that regard. So we're very pleased to bring that overall design component into the shopping center. As I'm sure everyone's aware, driving past the site preparation and work has been underway for a significant period of time. We're very pleased that we're past the sand importation stage and the densification stage and all those things that go in the ground that no one ever sees, that take a tremendous amount of work, and we're actually now underway with foundations and steel structure. So you're going to continue to see that through the balance of 2014, 2015, and then spring 2016 opening. This is an aerial shot from last weekend. A little hard to see maybe in this light. Basically what you're going to see moving forward is moving from east to west. There are 5 stages of the project, and due to its size, that's how it progresses. And at present, the foundations are about halfway across, and we have structural steel starting on the east end. This is a more specific shot. As part of an overall transportation study for the entire Tsawwassen First Nation community, there are significant infrastructure improvements being constructed. I noticed we have our flyer, one of our flyers in your package there. It has that particular shot in it, and this is also on our website. We'll be widening Highway 17 to 3 lanes both ways from east of 56 to Tsawwassen Drive. Highway 17 improvements at 52nd, 56, widening 52nd up to the north end of the project. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, the significant new 48th Street, which will run along the western portion of the project. Let's see if we can do that. No. Anyway, western portion of the project, all the way up to 27B and up to Deltaport, and that interchange will be improved as well. So there's a lot of work underway right now, preliminary work on Highway 17, and 48th Street is graded and under preload up to 27B. It's important to note that all of these improvements will be open and operational for the opening of the shopping center. It's critical to us, it's critical to everyone that this works really well. So these will all be open. We see both direct and indirect economic benefits here. TFN will receive ongoing revenues that will support its social health and educational programs, and also its growing municipal infrastructure needs. The members themselves will have the opportunity to own businesses and to work in both the construction process and in commercial retail jobs. And to that end, we have a very specific members benefits package that that was negotiated with TFN that we're very pleased about, that provide for these kinds of benefits. The Mills project itself, again, due to its draw, we believe is going to elevate the retail mix in the local community and overall strengthen its position in that area. To give you a little bit of an understanding of what happens to date, in that fourth bullet, we've let about $125 million worth of subcontracts, we being our general contractor, Ledcor, to date, all within the Vancouver and Victoria Lower Mainland area. And I'd like to highlight the fact that, pardon me, as Chris was speaking to earlier, a big chunk of that is the MatCon TFN joint venture, and that's just been an incredible success for both TFN and for ourselves. So we're really, really pleased about that. And lastly, honestly, the project of the scale needs all kinds of services. We don't have a lot of people on site yet, but we've spent about $175,000 in Tsawwassen and Ladner businesses to date. Miscellaneous things, including sandwiches. And that's only going to grow as our site office gets bigger and as we have more and more construction people on the job. At the peak, we'll be about 4,500 people on site building this project. Approximately 1,600 sort of overall, but when we get retail contractors on site, it is a real beehive of activity, and all those people do need services and food and beverage and all those good things. So as I said, we see that local spin-off, certainly during the construction period, to be there. Once open, we typically have about 3,000 full and part-time jobs in a mills of this size. And you'll hear more about the job fairs and recruitment and such that we do when James speaks later. So overall, we're very pleased and comfortable that we are going to add significant economic benefit to the overall area. So, in summary, certainly very much appreciate the opportunity to come and meet with you, talk with you, give you more information about what we're doing. We're working hard to keep people informed. We have a website at tsawwassenmills.ca. We have a Twitter account if that's your brand of social media. And happy if you want to email us questions, info@tsawwassenmills.ca. We have National Public Relations in the audience here and work with us throughout this process all the way through to opening and post-opening. So we'll make every effort to continue communication throughout the overall process. So thank you very much.